Statecraft, the highest levels of power, is not for the faint of heart. But the nation of Rizia is in need of a new king, so why shouldn't that be you? In Suzerain Rizia, assume the role of King Romus Torres, charged with navigating the dangerous waters of geopolitics, diplomacy, domestic affairs, and military operations. As king, you'll have extraordinary authority to issue decrees, develop your nation, and intimidate foreign powers, but fail to placate rivals at home or heed the advice of your trusted advisors, and you might find your reign and your life shorter than you'd prefer. Suzerain Rizia is out today, right now on Steam, and you'll find the link in the description. We're honored to have had the support of Torpor Games and fellow traveler in this investigation of Rizia, and if you'd like to see how well I'll do at being king, we'll be starting a playthrough of Suzerain Rizia over on our Twitch channel 1 hour after this video goes live. You'll find that link again in the description.
The Kingdom of Rizia is a striking anomaly in the modern world, a nation caught on the precipice between the old and the new. Its very name carries the weight of millennia, stretching back to the tribes that first settled the river valleys and bountiful coast of the continent. 1,000 years ago, the Palace Resna, ancient imperial citadel to the Razanid dynasty, looked out over a city barely larger than a fishing market. Today, it is surrounded by modern buildings, almost lost in the sprawling capital of Port Drazon. Here in the heart of Rizia, just as in every corner of the nation, automobiles now line the cobblestone streets, while the shops play host to the latest fashions, cuisine, and culture, imported from distant Arcasia or Contana. Much has changed in the kingdom, and yet nothing has changed. Modern Rizia extends across the southern coast of the Mercopan continent. Its longest border is with the Antasian Sea, which surrounds the nation on nearly every side. To the south lies the Grand Duchy of Pelé, while a temporary boundary with the Republic of Welen exists on the country's northern tip. Its most extensive land border is with the Republic of Morella, and takes up much of Rizia's western frontier. Another immediate neighbour is the Republic of Lesbia, separated by a thin strip of the Sudis Sea. A constitutional monarchy of roughly 43 million people, the Kingdom of Rizia is a developed nation with a sophisticated, mixed economy and an above-average standard of living. International attention has been given to its comprehensive public healthcare and low tax rates, subsidized in part by the nation's substantial mining and gas industries. Its progressive stance on women's rights and other social policies has attracted the praise of global advocacy groups, but critics point to Rizia's inconsistent human rights record. Political activists, journalists, and dissenters are known to suffer persecution and harassment in the kingdom. Lengthy jail sentences are frequently imposed on opposition leaders and any of their prominent supporters. On the international stage, the Kingdom of Rizia is considered a middle power within the Mercopan continent. It is a member of the Alliance of Nations, the Organization for Mercopan Economic Development, and the Guild of Royal Allies for Commercial Exchange. Its membership in this latter group has helped foster ties with monarchies across the world, in particular, the Kingdom of Rumburg. The Kingdom of Rizia is a constitutional monarchy. The role of democratic institutions, however, remains limited. Legislative, executive, and judicial functions are instead combined under the authority of the ruling monarch. This king or queen may also make use of powerful royal decrees as a tool in their governance, sidestepping the normal procedure of implementing policy and law. A council made up of various nobles, aristocrats, and traditional elites may also advise the monarch, but very few official restrictions exist on the use or expansion of their authority. Those rules that are in place are largely ceremonial, dating back to the courtly decorum of the ancient Razanid or Marquinan dynasties. Liberal critics have accused the kingdom of totalitarianism, though many political scientists regard it as more authoritarian. Politics in the Kingdom of Rizia instead play out in two closely related arenas, within the major royal families, and between those royal families and the rest of Rizian society. 3 families dominate the power structure of the kingdom, and each claims as its traditional stronghold and power base one of the country's provinces. Port Drazon, the kingdom's capital, is located within the special Rizia Imperi district, under the direct authority of the ruling family, rather than any noble house. House Tauras is today the most powerful and current ruling dynasty. It has held the royal throne for well over a century, and claims as its stronghold the wealthy coastal province of Valankiris, and its capital, Monarchy. It additionally controls the important trade hub of Iza, following an unsuccessful uprising by House Sazon. Second to House Tauras is House Azaro, the ruling family of the province of Cardes-Monteclar. The capital city Monteclar is Rizia's primary military industrial hub, and the greater province is known for its natural resources. Despite these advantages and many attempts across its history, House Azaro has never held the royal throne. In the modern era, it is closely associated with the Rizian armed forces, and the family was the original patron of Camp Domus, which remains the nation's largest military base. House Sazon is the last of Rizia's 3 royal families, descended from the ruling dynasty of the province of Brenas. Historically, it was known to be a patron of the arts and education, and helped to establish the University of Iza, and many other academic and cultural institutions. Rumors of its collusion with Arcasia to undermine House Tauras, and its direct role in an uprising against the crown, have drastically reduced its status in Rizia. Its rule over the trade hub of Iza has been severed, and territorial concessions agreed to by Rizia in the aftermath of that uprising have crippled the economy of Brenas in recent years. Together, these events have stifled the ability of House Sazon to further its position. Serving as the symbolic bridge between the royal families and the general populace is the House of Delegates. Though the house in itself has little power, and its members initially consisted of those carefully selected for their pro-monarchy attitudes, it has at times been able to achieve dramatic results and shifts in government policy. The current ruling party, the Rizian National Coalition, operates within the small niche of autonomy allotted to the house by the royal family. Any perceived overreach or challenge to the monarchy could lead to a stringent crackdown or the dissolution of the house itself. The Rizian People's Party, by contrast, the current opposition, emerged out of underground anti-monarchist movements and has shown itself willing to tread a more dangerous, confrontational line, risking reprisal or restriction. Ironically, the party is currently led by Manus Sazon, an exile of House Sazon, who has announced his intentions to acquire a majority in the house. While currently the balance of power appears to favor the royal families and the monarchy, the very existence of the House of Delegates is proof that their position is not unassailable. To dismiss the will of the people entirely might very well lead to a civil war, national uprising, crisis of succession, or more than likely, some combination of all 3. The armed forces of Rizia, the only potential major third pillar in internal Rizian politics, has been largely defanged since an attempted uprising against the crown in 1926. A series of purges has ensured its highest-ranking personnel are loyal first to the monarchy, with many directly affiliated with House Azaro. In spite of these precautions, the royal family remains wary of the military. It remains underfunded, poorly equipped, and heavily reliant on foreign aid. Its current disposition includes forces deployed to the southern borders of the Grand Duchy of Palais and the northern territory of Zil, though it remains unclear if the force is capable of any sustained offensive action. The ancient histories of the Mercopan continent comes from the interweaving tales and legends of the nomadic tribes that once wandered its varied lands. The Resinid Empire was the first to unite these peoples. It fostered trade, stability, and a shared religion in the form of Nurity. The seat of its emperors during this time was the stronghold of Drazon, positioned on the banks of the Zapana River and surrounded by fertile soil. From the 1st century through the 1st millennium, the Resinid Empire and the ruling Resna dynasties played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and socio-political landscape of Mokopa, the impact of which is still felt to this day. By the start of the second millennium, the resident empire was a spent force, exhausted by centuries of internal strife, foreign invasions, and emperors of inconsistent vision. Southern Mokopa fell under the control of the dynamic and powerful Marchian Empire, including present-day Rizia, Dirdia, and Morella. The Marchian Empire transformed Mokopa, and Rizia in particular became an important region of economic growth. Roads, bridges, and aqueducts accelerated commerce and industry, funded by deposits of gold that were starting to be discovered in the current-day provinces of Brenas and Monteclar. Rizia's wealth enabled it to successfully assert its independence from the Marchian Empire in the mid-1600s. The nascent Kingdom of Rizia was ruled by the Rubaz family, claiming an ancient lineage to the Resna dynasty. As other states across Mokopa reasserted their sovereignty, Rizia became a key power in the newly emerging political landscape, a respected center of trade and diplomacy. Its major rival was the Empire of Meridia, Rizia's immediate neighbor and another breakaway state. In the centuries following the collapse of the Marchian Empire, clashes with Meridia were common, though eventually mitigated by an intermarriage between the two ruling families. An invasion by the Empire of Valgos was more disastrous and ended in the loss of Palais, Rizia's most significant port city. Alongside House Rubaz, other noble families, the ancestors of the modern House Tauras, Saison, and Azaro, began to rise to prominence in this period. Tensions between these families would break out into open conflict in 1805. The death of King Xavi Rubaz left 3 potential heirs, each supported by a different house. Foreign intervention turned this internal conflict into a brief but violent war, in which House Tauras, aided by naval forces dispatched by the Empire of Valgos, emerged victorious and claimed the throne. The conflict also helped to cement the relationship between the houses, their authority over their respective provinces, and the federal status of the capital and Rizia Imperi. Though weakened by the War of Succession, the Kingdom of Rizia was able to survive the century of revolutions that saw so many other states undergo dramatic, sudden, and often violent political upheavals. Its neighbor Meridia did not, and split into what are today the nations of Morella and Dirdia. With its oldest rivals distracted, the Kingdom of Rizia was able to regain its former strength and position. A period of rapid modernization and progressive reforms were instituted, and a more globalist attitude gained traction in the kingdom's center of power. Enormous strides were made in education, technology, and social issues, and the nation's economy was increasingly opened to more distant kingdoms such as Wayland and Swordland. Advancements in the mining industry helped fund this effort, with crown corporations such as Rizian Royal Gold growing into powerful entities with significant influence in global markets. This national rejuvenation was almost entirely conducted under the reign of Queen Liza Tauras, which began in 1860 and immortalized her as Liza the Great. The final years of her rule, however, were marked by challenges, culminating in the marriage of her eldest son Valero to a commoner. The royal house was able to weather the scandal, but questions of their legitimacy have never faded amongst the traditionalists. The death of Queen Liza in 1918 plunged the nation into mourning and led to the first democratic movements in the country. The Volkslandian Revolution 2 years later provided to Rizia the opportunity to regain its former province of Palais, but a complete reunification never materialized. Palais was left as an independent Grand Duchy, its sovereignty supported by the Republic of Lesbia. This was widely regarded as a humiliation, an end to the Golden Age, fostered by Queen Liza, and the start of a new era of uncertainty. In 1923, Valero, now king, was convinced by his influential war councillor that a quick and decisive campaign to reclaim Palais could rejuvenate the kingdom's prestige and his own anemic popularity. The war was a disaster, with Rizia's objectives completely out of step with the realities of the military situation. A naval mutiny quickly escalated into a full-scale uprising, supported by a coalition of democratic movements and groups. Duke Lucas of House Saison was heavily involved in the uprising, and even helped to orchestrate the kidnapping of the royal heir, Romus Tauras. The plot was foiled and the revolution crushed, but only after King Valero negotiated assistance from the Republic of Wayland. In exchange for its military assistance and direct intervention, Wayland was granted a 25-year lease to the resource-rich territory of Zil, on the northern coast of Rizia. The failure to conquer Pelé and the reliance on foreign troops to maintain stability in the aftermath were the most significant challenges to the monarch's legitimacy in centuries. It was in this environment that the House of Delegates was established, representing the first bit of political power conceded to the general citizenry from the nobility. Limitations imposed on the House, however, made such concessions mostly symbolic. Few within the country consider the House as an effective method of ensuring their needs and concerns are heard. An alliance with the Kingdom of Rumburg in the 1930s helped to prop up the shaky Rizian monarchy. Rumburg's investments, both monetary and in the form of labor, significantly contributed to the ongoing modernization of Rizia's mining and manufacturing sectors. Membership in Grace, an international alliance of monarchies formed in response to the century of revolutions, has likewise helped increase Rizian's presence on the international stage. However, the growing dependence on Rumburg's capital stirred concerns among a rising faction of Rizian nationalists. Socio-economic disparities also became more widespread and obvious, as the benefits of Rizia's returning wealth were concentrated into the aristocratic elite. King Valero's final years were marked by paranoia, isolation, and the inability to solve or even address the myriad of issues facing the country. Much has changed within Rizia, and yet nothing has changed. As the kingdom advances into the modern age, this contradiction is becoming harder to maintain. The world is growing smaller, more connected, and the role of a monarch has never been so complicated or so thoroughly challenged. Divine right has been replaced by a global dialogue, one increasingly focused on ideology, human rights, and games of geopolitics. The traditional reverence and power vested in the monarchy are being scrutinized from every angle, with radicals, revolutionaries, and even some traditionalists arguing that the institution needs to change. But amidst this season of change and the clamor for progress, the age-old machinations of the kingdom endure. Courtly intrigue and noble infighting persist within the halls of the palace, hidden just beneath the veneer of unity. The year is 1950. King Valero has died and will be known to history as the Frail. His life brought the kingdom defeat and poverty, but his death may be the start of a new chapter. Rizia has had great kings, it has had terrible kings, but in Romus Tauras, it may have its first modern king. Pivotal decisions lay ahead, alongside old agendas, wounds, and humiliations. The destiny of a nation is at stake, and for now, it rests in the hands of one man, one Suzerain.
The Templin Institute investigates the nations, factions, and organizations of alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.